because I can. So, hi everyone, welcome to Beer Throat. No,
Welcome to Beer
Sorry,
Throat.
Matt.
Start over.
Matt's not here.
Stop recording.
Nope. Matt's not here. I was expecting to pause and be like, "Hi everyone, welcome to Beer Protocol. This is James. I'm drinking the last of the gingerbread stout."
All I heard is welcome to Beer Throat. I guess I'm Jacob. I'm drinking whiskey.
Because you can.
It's Isaac Bowman's Aged in Port. Matt, if you see this and I took this from you when I moved on accident, you're not getting it back. I'm sorry. I'll get you a new bottle.
Shit, people are gonna watch this. Maybe I should post this after next Saturday. All right, think.
Clink.
So we have a
I was
tournament.
gonna say, James, would you like to ad lib into covering a model we haven't talked about rather than give away your tournament list?
No, let's just do this nonsense because I have to have some type of feedback. All right, so we have a tournament coming up on Saturday. I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to make it. Are you making it?
I'd rather not discuss my personal travel plans and a thing you're going to record and post online.
So Jake's coming down. So I decided to make a list.
Got three idiot hairs.
We started planning. I started playing this list a couple weeks back. I tried it with oh god, I tried it with Spider Foes, not called Spider Foes. Is it Spider Foes?
No, it is called Spider Foes.
Oh, okay. I want to call them something different.
Is your list up somewhere for the viewers to see as we discuss?
Right here.
Yeah.
So
let's run down the characters real quick.
Yeah,
and we'll go from there.
With this in mind, though, I'm thinking about just doing Criminal Syndicate. I don't think I want to do Spider Foes. I don't like the affiliation bonus.
James, you are so... James, for as long as I've known you playing this game, you have been riding the Criminal Syndicate money pony. You can't get away from it. It's in your brain.
So like, good.
I see every single Spider Foe model on this list, and I still knew you were playing Criminal Syndicate.
It's the
never in a million years that I think you were gonna play Spider Foes.
I played against Matt, and I was like, wait, okay, re-rolled that one dice on my attack one time, a turn, and then it was like, cool, I made it better for you. It's like, this is terrible.
Dice re-rolling. That's why you tend not to.
Yeah. So
re-rolling an offensive. So for those who don't remember, Spider Foe's affiliation bonus is with the updated Goblin. You can re-roll one of your opponent's defense dice each attack. One.
Nope. Once per turn. Maybe it's once per attack? It's not once per attack.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but that's not what I remember it being. So I'm going to look over here and reference my handy-dandy card list.
I printed it out. Hold on.
Once per turn when an allied character is attacking. Which sucks. Yeah, Spider Foe's affiliation bonus is still bad.
It sucks.
It's not as good as like X Forces, which is just the fully generic reroll one attack die each attack.
Yeah, if I could reroll attack die, that'd be great. But I have to reroll your defense die, which means great, you got better. Shit. I can't make you explode on them, but yeah.
So, rerolling defensive dice in general as a gimmick is interesting. There's not a lot of characters with active defensive abilities. Actually, with Convocation, Supreme, Strange, and Magic are the only ones I can think of at the top of my head that get an effect on Wild when defending against certain attacks.
Yeah,
some people have martial artists giving them or other abilities that let them count blanks.
But still, reroll that blank. Oh, what are you going to reroll it into? A possible hit?
In general, I feel like Pierce is going to be more effective than this leadership ability 9 times out of 10.
Oh god, yeah. Pierce is definitely better.
So, Criminal Syndicate, as a quick refresher for what you do want to play with Kingpin's affiliation bonus.
Tanky people.
His leadership lets you, once per turn, anytime during an allied character's activation, it can spend 2 power to move 1 asset or civilian token held by the active character to another ally within range 3.
Yep.
Still can't hold more in the scenario. Also, your personal favorite, each healthy allied character counts as 2 healthy characters when determining who is securing an objective. Look
So
at your
good.
big old grin.
So good. Like it's an
It
affiliation that has 2 bonuses. Like,
it is
yeah.
very good. So, James, I was curious, so I was looking at your scenarios, since if you're going to play Criminal Syndicate, you care about scenarios very much. Are
Yeah,
you aware you picked all C's and D's?
I did. Well,
Yes,
um,
you are. All
yeah,
of your
'cause I'm a
scenarios are C's
C's
and
and
D's.
D's. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Mm-hmm.
I so the C is the straight quarter down the middle.
Nope, you're wrong.
Is that D where it's straight quarter?
C is the horizontal line.
Okay. And then D is
D,
is a vertical?
no, D is the 4 dots.
Then you were wrong. Gamma shelters are the is 3 down the middle.
Mm,
Yeah. Hmm.
mm,
So,
mm-hmm.
yes, no, I like it where
I'm
cuz
not wrong.
so Mayor Fisk is C, but it's only the
Ah,
two
I misread
ends.
it.
Um so yeah, Mayor Fisk is the two ends points, which splits the field, which is going to make you have dedicate less to each side. Gamma shelters puts you right down the middle. Also helped me a little
Yes, you
bit
are
there.
correct.
Um,
So,
the
I guess I'm curious.
Terrigen Clouds is also a C, isn't it?
It's a C.
Yeah, so it's right through the middle also.
I am curious about something, James.
Hmm.
Um, so with your leadership ability, because I assume you're not going to be playing Daredevil.
No,
With your leadership ability, would you want fewer secures or more?
I would say more because it's so that means either you're spread out.
I was going to say, because your strength is when you can thin your opponent out and
Yes,
force them to fight you.
or
So
they're going
I
to
would
clump up
actually,
on a spot.
jumping well ahead of your characters, just looking at the affiliation bonus you want to play
Hmm.
and the scenarios you have, I don't know if I would take Mayor Fisk. So I'm curious.
Seriously,
Well,
I so
because you only have 2 secures.
So strangely enough, when I was going through the crisis cards, I got to Mayor Fisk and I was like, it's kind of good, and I don't really think of anything else I could possibly do to um like put stuff into my favor. So I was like, yeah, Mayor Fisk is probably the best one out of the rest of them.
See, I disagree because with only 2 secures, you're going to be piling each objective tall. Which,
So
while you're going to have more characters stacked up, it's going to give your opponent. So
what would you
with
consider?
only two secures, your opponent can feel free to absolutely dogpile their entire team onto one and just let you have the other. And then your benefit's not worth much because you've split your forces
Hmm.
and your opponent decided they didn't care. Whereas if you have multiple secures, especially if they all score even just 1 point, you can start picking up lots of points and your opponent can't let you have all those points,
But
so
that's
they have to split up and then you have
also
your advantage.
with the balance of the extracts, then I can start going for extracts. Um, that's why,
Assuming that's not
assuming it's
also happening.
yeah, assuming it's not like a single extract like uh the scroll one.
So gamma shelters works okay for you. I'd almost say D, the horizontal, might be better than E, which is the vertical
Okay.
line, just because it's going to depend on your mobility for how much you can threaten that back gamma shelter.
Hmm.
So,
Well,
with that said, let's look at your boys. Let's look at your precious, precious army men. Who are you taking to
my
Criminal Syndicate war?
my little boy Barbies.
So, Kingpin, first off, if you're going to play your good leadership, you
Yeah.
need that good, large man in a suit of indeterminate color.
Mine is black.
Ah, I would. That feels like the easy way out.
No, I actually. Oh God, no! Shut the fuck up. I'm painting Bullseye. It's just like Bullseye's easy. He's black and white. No, screw that nonsense. It's freaking difficult.
You could do
No,
that with a Zenithal print.
I did the Kingpin from Into the Spider-Verse, which is a
Hmm.
black suit.
A
So
triangle in a suit, yeah.
yeah. So need to bring Kingpin. That's a given. Black Cat. We're gonna talk about how the fuck do you deal with Black Cat. When Matt gets
Haven't we
back.
done that? Oh,
No,
okay.
we haven't because Matt's upset with that. But Black Cat is like a very, very, very good 3 threat character.
Spoiler alert, how do you deal with Black Cat? Right now, you
You
don't
you don't. She's
until
just gonna
Atomic Mass
stagger or
Games does
stun.
something.
She's gonna stun you.
So,
It's just given.
in right now, just get used to seeing her in play
Hmm.
and take her yourself because she's just extremely strong right now.
She's a little squishy, but yeah. Bullseye because
I feel like that's your fault.
he's really good at 2 points. He's terrible at three. He's good at 2 points.
Now, to be fair to Bullseye, they did tweak. I think they tweaked some of his other stuff on his card beyond just making him two.
Yeah, we might need to go back over and discuss him again because he has
Um,
changed.
Bullseye at 2 threat is now one of the more interesting options, and if
Hmm.
you could take him affiliated, even better.
Then we have Craven the Hunter, just because it is a freaking amazing model. Um, who's also now finished drawing, so I can put him away. Green Goblin. Um,
So,
so Craven the Hunter is
after
a
his
sorry. Craven the Hunter is in there for he's really good for I don't move and hit people. So like gamma shelters and sitting on an objective where people have to come to him. He does a crap ton of damage. Um,
maybe.
well, because if he doesn't have to move, he can hit you with the spear
So,
and then gets more dice on using the Curie, or is it the Curie and then Kakuri and then the spear.
so I will say Craven has an interesting gimmick, similar to Ghost Spider and Web Warriors, where he plays either good beatdown or great skirmish.
Hmm.
So I wouldn't. Craven can stand still and fully dedicate his turn to get a 5 dice attack and then a 7 dice attack, or he can pop and move with the exact same action loadout and
Hmm.
potentially get both attacks at 5 and 4 and two in a short and a medium move.
Yep, he's very mobile.
Um,
He's either very tanky or very well, not very very tanky. He's very
yeah,
I kill things on a point, or he's very good at moving, which is great for like gamma shelters and a couple of the other
yeah.
missions where they're all lined up.
It gives you flexibility, which
Yeah.
is again, since you want to take gamma shelters as potentially one of your scenarios, you want to
Hmm.
make sure you have some way to threaten getting to the back point unexpectedly. Craven's not a bad solution. Goblin,
I like Goblin.
honestly, Green Goblin is an outstanding 4 threat model. Like Green
He's
Goblin is pushing 5
not
threat. I feel like
not in
for
his own
terms of
faction.
table impact. Okay, Green Goblin has a dud of an affiliation ability. I was pretty okay with it until I saw it was once per turn. And since Goblin wants to do nothing but attack, that's a bummer.
Yeah, that's a bummer. So the the thing with Goblin is he's really really good all around. On his front side, he can hold objectives. On his flip side, his injured side, he can't hold objectives, but he can contest. And he
So
also
on
now has the
Goblins,
glider ram.
yes, Glider Ram. So on it's on his healthy side, he has hit and run,
Hmm.
which lets him attack then move. And seeing as his pumpkin bombs are range 4 and 5 dice, that's great, fantastic. Along with the chance of getting incinerate, bleed, or poison, Goblin is gonna either set up someone to get
Hmm.
hurt, or is gonna do a good amount of hurt himself. On his injured side, hit and run becomes Glider Ram, where he pays 3 power to throw himself medium, and since he is size 3, he's going to hit for 4 damage they have to dodge against. That's solid. It's good repositioning, and it is solid indirect damage.
And he does pass out poison, which I also have Baron Mordo in here, which can then go, cool, you have poison, everyone around you has poison too.
That's fair. I would almost argue Incinerate's going to be your priority,
Oh
just
no, if
because
I can get
Incinerate
yeah, if I can do the
speeds
incinerate,
things up.
then yeah, that's going to be the priority. But
Um,
it's there as an option.
As you
Um,
said, Goblin, his unstable psyche, he cannot interact with or hold objective tokens.
mhm.
So that means he can still contest. And you are correct. His Goblin can still score
Yep.
points through contesting. But if a secure involves making some kind of check through an interact, he is no longer able to do that.
Yep.
So you want to make sure for your list with Goblin, you are avoiding those secures.
Yeah, no,
You can't
he's
affect.
gonna be my skirmisher, run around, attack things, debuff things, hold objectives until he flips, and then just becomes a throw himself at people.
I was gonna say he doesn't necessarily even need to be your skirmisher. Well, he can do that. He's got 7 stamina and 4 physical defense, and threes in the others. Like he's actually pretty sturdy.
Yeah,
He has no
he's
particular damage mitigation, but he's gonna take effort.
yeah. Lizard, Lizard just a tank. Like
Yeah,
he's amazing.
Lizard needs almost no explanation. He does his job incredibly well.
Yeah. Same thing with Venom. Venom is also really good
So
tanky. And also a really good defender. So I like
I
having him in there.
I I've got questions
Sure.
about Venom. Mostly just why.
I like him for lethal protector and for snacking. So he's more of a go get those guys over there, keep your health up.
I guess, but Venom is really dependent on having energy to get snacking.
Got nothing else to spend it on.
Well, he's got his yank, he's got a throw, he's got his spender.
Oh, that was the other
Um,
thing. I don't have a lot of throws. Like Kingpin has a throw.
that's I don't think that's necessarily a requirement. Like throws are no longer a you have to have them. There's now enough ways to interact with terrain. So so kind of my issue with Venom is one, he's not affiliated. Not that everyone
Hmm.
has to be, but it's definitely a knock for the simple fact that you have certain tactic cards that are very strong for a criminal syndicate. And then two, Venom has a really crippling energy defense, which may not be what you need for a tank.
Let's talk about Carnage.
Well, Carnage has ways around that. Like also Carnage is Carnage affiliated?
Yes, Carnage is affiliated.
So, are you sure?
Oh no, sorry. Carnage is affiliated with
Okay.
Webfos.
Um so
Sorry.
Venom I'm real mixed on Venom in general because there's enough other 4 threat models now
Okay.
that compete with what he's doing.
Well, let's put him to the side then,
And
and we
also
can come back.
you already have Lizard,
It's true, and
who's
he's three.
just better for
So
that job.
let's slide him to the side. He might be a let's pull him out and replace it. Carnage has done super good for me.
Yeah,
Um,
Carnage is a big pressure piece, even if he's not affiliated. He brings a really unique challenge to your opponent, which is did you bring non-physical attacks, which the current meta is going to start demanding more and more of.
yeah. Also with Baron Mordo, it's become he's become a missile. It's really
Mhm.
become, hey, there are people all grouped up. Go get him, Carnage. Carnage starts attacking everyone in the area, and I just like daze like 2 to 3 characters. Now he'll die afterwards,
Yes, that is his
um,
job.
but he's done his job. Baron Mordo. Baron Mordo is there to start passing out stuff. Give me a mystic attack because I don't have a mystic attack.
Mhm.
And also, Baron Mordo is there to basically boost anyone sitting on a point. He's got enough range and he's got enough movement to basically sit on a back point and boost other people.
So with that sort of scenario, I would also look at getting more D secures.
Okay.
These are going to be the ones that have a back point for him to sit on, but they
Okay.
leave the center open. So Gamma Shelter E is probably your ideal setup for Mordo. Mordo might be able to contest one of the sides on C and still get to the middle. On D, because D has the 4 points but nothing in the middle, Mordo's going to have to hang out on one flank
It's
or the
still
other.
it's still a pretty good idea. I
Still
know
potentially
there's
helping
a couple of
for
D's
the
out there
scrum.
that's strong for this list. Um,
Um, So
oh,
just yeah, as a heads up for that planning, Mortal's not a bad call, but my hesitation. Let's talk about your last model,
Dr.
Voodoo.
Voodoo.
Any particular reason?
Uh, he's insanely good.
Okay,
So
so
it's also and it does sound cheesy. This is a tournament though. Cool. I have one person sitting on a point. That counts as 2 people. You have 3 people,
mhm.
and I can now just brother Daniel and just take away one of your guys, and now we're
Yep,
tied.
it's not
So
cheesy. That's exactly why you bring Voodoo.
that's
Like
why I'm
that's his
bringing
whole
Voodoo.
point.
I gotta
Also on
assemble
his
him.
own, he is a sturdy character with decent attack profile. Like his actions are rarely going to be wasted. He
So
also has at least a small terrain throw. I
so
think Voodoo is a fine splash, but sort of my caution then is with Voodoo as a splash, he's generically good enough that you're just going to take him.
um I don't
Name me a scenario you wouldn't take Voodoo.
gamma shelters.
Why?
Because I want more killy than I want like a tank. Um
I feel like in Gamma Shelters, what you want is control.
so my other fear at this point is low point games is difficult for me. So if somebody pulls a low point game, I'm going to like Craven the Hunter, Kingpin,
Yeah, you don't have a lot of threes.
um, and like Bullseye thrown in there, and Lizard, and it's going to become like me just trying to hold out. Uh, I that's why I was kind of scared to go like, okay, Doctor Voodoo, because he's good, but he doesn't help my team like Mordo does at 1 point less.
So here's kind of my thought with that one is Black Cat, Voodoo, Kingpin right now are the current meta of at least Black Cat and Voodoo are honestly too strong, and then Kingpin you need.
Hmm.
So you're committed to 11 points in most games.
Which means I get another 3 for a 14-point game.
So that's 4 models. At a 14-point game, your opponent could play wide and get to maybe 5 models. That's not that much down
Still, it kind of hurts. Um,
against Criminal
but
Syndicate,
okay, so
especially
if not, if
especially since Voodoo can chuck things. So what you really need is a 3 threat with a throw that can or control to get someone off a point. So you said earlier that you're thinking killy killy. I don't know if that's how Criminal Syndicate wants to play. I
mm,
think Criminal Syndicate they could get a lot of success with attacking models because ultimately everyone's attacking models. I think what you want is control. You
okay.
want to shove people off points so that when they rush up to you and commit 2 people, you can remove one of them from the equation and score with your affiliation.
I mean, the other person in Criminal Syndicate that I was thinking about bringing was Omega Red,
I actually was
but
going to suggest Omega Red, consider him instead of Venom, simply because he
he's a
also plays a
5.
tank role.
Is he a
He's a
5?
4. Oh, he's threat 4.
He is a
Because
4.
you've
Yeah.
mentioned poison a few times, and poison on its own is okay. But if you take Omega Red, then you'd have something that's like some kind of payoff for poison.
God, you're actually right because he does have a 4 Mystic and Mystic. I'm going to be worrying about Convocation, a bunch of Mystic attacks. So Omega Red is probably a good choice to replace Venom with. So I will probably do that. That's actually not a bad idea.
I mean, we could also look at the rest of the affiliation. For like big, heavy boys. Don't forget, you're also going into a meta where Juggernaut is going to be super, super common.
Mm-hmm.
What is your plan with Juggernaut?
Um, Run away, cry like a little boy.
That's not going to do it, and you know it.
Is that not a tactic? If I knock out my
Uh,
opponent, the character goes away.
so you can use Voodoo on Juggernaut. It's going to be expensive, 5 threat.
In reality, when it comes to Juggernaut, I was thinking of throwing Black Cat and Goblin at him. Get Incinerate, and then have Black Cat start passing out stuns.
Okay, so remember, Stagger is not going
Sorry,
to do
Stagger.
shit to Juggernaut.
Hmm.
No, because Juggernaut's superpower,
Oh
his
yeah,
charging,
he charges.
removes Stagger.
Yeah,
You cannot affect if Juggernaut
but
has 3 power, he is not staggered
that does take away his power, though.
to
I
do a
would.
thing he already wanted to do.
Yeah, true.
He was going to do it whether you staggered him or not.
I mean, throw Carnage at him. He's physicals.
I mean, Carnage will have decent tankiness, but see, Carnage thrives against medium squish. Juggernaut's a lot of beef
Hmm.
with his damage reduction and his physical defense. Like Carnage will probably put a good dent in him, but Carnage is not going to drop him in one activation. He's not going to missile him.
I mean,
Not unless you got some hot dice.
really, when it comes to Juggernaut, I don't know how I'm gonna deal with them. Like I'm a lot of physical characters. Hopefully, Doctor Voodoo, Baron Mordo. I don't want to bring Mysterio because Mysterio. I
Mysterio
don't
can
know
be
how I
rough.
feel about Mysterio being thrown in there. Like, um, it's complicated when it comes to Mysterio. Now, would I replace Baron Mordo with Mysterio? Probably not.
Mm. So one of the ways you can deal with Juggernaut, and even and by deal with, I mean not even necessarily like punch Juggernaut a lot. How do you deal with him sitting on a point you need? Is you can't use throws effectively because he's size 4,
Actually, hold
unless the Kingpin has.
on. So I could, if I drop Venom, and I can bring a Mega Red, and Mega Red has Ensnare, which pulls a character. Sorry, it pushes an enemy character within 4, towards a character medium.
Is there a size restriction?
There is not.
So Juggernaut's helmet says he cannot be pushed or pulled. He cannot be pushed or advanced by enemy mystics or superpowers.
It's a superpower, so it won't be able to help.
So what you need is a
Hmm.
place. Since pushed or advanced is the phrase that's used, you need some kind of place effect.
Magic. We talked about her.
Magic comes with her tactic card and has a decent amount of mystic attack power,
She's a 3.
and she's a 3. I wasn't necessarily saying take magic because I think there's still other options, but magic is something. And she'd also give you mobility with her
So
medium move and
I'm
teleports.
I'm not too afraid of Juggernaut staying on a point, because
I
I
was
will
gonna say,
kind of.
and you put Indomitable in your tactics card, so
I
I know
did.
you already bought that box,
I actually haven't yet.
James.
I haven't bought Juggernaut yet. So
James,
I'm going to
you
this
can't
week.
borrow mine. I don't live there anymore.
I'm going to be doing that this week. Support your local game store. So okay, would I pull if I'm pulling out Venom because Venom is overlapping with a lot of other things that are doing the same thing as Venom that Venom wants to do, which is be tanky and defend a point. I could put a Mega
Honestly,
Red
yeah,
in.
Lizard does all of that stuff
Hmm.
that Venom does, and Carnage does all of the combat stuff Venom wants to do as well.
So I can pull out Venom, put
Uh,
in a Mega Red.
so you're kind of also in another situation where you're just kind of running into like, okay, what is your? We talked about your 14 point list. What is your 15, 16, 17? Because what I'm kind of seeing is a lot of staple characters, and you don't have the points for all of them.
So this is a great thing about CerebroMCP.com. If you go to list breakdown, you can actually click on 15 points, and it will tell you when you built your list um, who can be fit into that list. So we
That doesn't
have,
answer my question.
so it depends. And the thing I was looking at, which this is a list I usually run for 15 points, is Kingpin, Black Cat, what was it? Kingpin, Black Cat, Craven, Lizard, Baron Mordo. That's usually my 15-point build
Okay, Craven Black Hat 10 for 15.
for 15.
That's 16 points you just listed off.
Uh, sorry, Kingpin, Crave. Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry, I lied. Kingpin,
Oh, I
Black
know.
Cat, Bullseye, Lizard, Baron Mordo. I can also go with
Wait,
Kingpin,
hell on.
Craven, Goblin, Doctor Voodoo.
Yeah, that'll work at 15. Okay. So kind of my point though is we've talked I see a list with a lot of staple models and they're all going to be kind of directly competing for what is your core list that you add answers to.
Well,
Is kind of my question
I
is
think
cuz right
it's gonna be Kingpin, It's gonna be Kingpin, Black Cat. Those are the two kind of that's like my go-tos. I kind of have Craven as my next kind of go-to.
Okay, so if you have budget, what does Craven upgrade to?
Um, Really nothing. Like
I would say Goblin probably because it's the same mix of mobility and damage.
the only problem is that he doesn't. So Craven gets the rerolls, um, and like Goblin loses the ability to hold objectives. It
Yeah,
gets
but you
weird.
wanna.
I need to see
It,
the scenarios. That's the problem. Is that if I see the scenarios and see how they're laid out, I'll definitely go with Goblin over Craven if there's more chance of me having to have more mobility. Because while Craven does a bunch of stuff really cool, it's based off a lot of attacks. While Goblin is just a glider. He moves, he throws himself on his injured side, and then he goes ahead and attacks again. He's got way more mobility and better range.
so let me lay out a quick scenario for you. You've got a 17 threat list, and you want to take Kingpin, Goblin, Black Cat, and Carnage. Say, how do
Okay.
you fit Voodoo in? And don't actually answer that because this is hypothetical to illustrate a point. My point being is you have a lot of superstars that I think are all directly competing for your core list.
Okay.
So and
Is
that's
that
kind of what
is
I'm
it
struggling.
bad not having a core list?
I don't know for sure, but like my experience playing Web Warriors is I know like the 3 or 4 core models I'm taking. Convocation, I know the 3 or 4 core models I'm taking because that's the key strategy for sort of what I want to do and how I want to play.
So,
And then I can have 1 or 2 models to flavor. And right now you're like, I have a Swiss Army knife of my whole list can address any situation, but it's like, yeah, but how are you gonna not take 10 minutes trying to analysis paralysis your roster?
well, it's definitely going to be Kingpin and Black Cat. That's the given. And then it's going to
I
be
guess
looking at
kind of
the
my
scenario.
point is that's not enough because you have so many core list models that I'm not actually seeing that many one-off solutions.
Okay.
So like slots like Voodoo feel wasted because you're either going to take Voodoo or you're not. Because I know that's super binary. My point is the situation for when Voodoo is good is so generic that it's either if you're not going to take Voodoo to address X situation, then what situation would you take him in? And if there isn't one
I
where he's
think
going to replace one of your core criminal syndicates, then just swap that with something else so you have more list flexibility.
I think Doctor Voodoo is going to be core when it's 17 points and up.
Okay.
Below that, I think I'd want to try to go a little bit more wide.
So I guess the other way you could do it is build yourself a tall list and then a wide list.
Okay.
It's just it feel like you're kind of like right in the middle right now, and that's not again. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is a problem when your list is half threat fours.
It's true. Yeah.
Is you're in an awkward sort of list building spot
And
where you're gonna be a point off in a fair number of scenarios to
that's
play
the
the core team you want.
problem. Like I agree with you on now like when now talking about it, and this is why you should actually talk to people about your list and have them ask you questions. And this is what we do because I like Venom. But yeah, now that Jake is like, what does he do? I'm like, he does the same thing as Lizard.
I
And it's
like
like,
I like Venom too, flavor wise.
but
I think
it
he's interesting, but I've
does
never
fit
felt compelled to play him.
it does fit better with having a Mega Red in there. And it feels better having a Mega Red in there, like doing status effects and dragging people and doing everything I need to at the same point level.
Yeah. Or
Um,
do what you're talking about and use a tactic card slot as well and slap in magic. So you have another 3 threat model, so you're not quite as top heavy.
the
And
problem
then
is
you'd
though,
have
see that's the problem is that I think at the if I drop in Magic at that point, which would be great, I think I'm running into the point where I don't have over 50% of my list is Criminal Syndicate.
but I mean to be fair though, I mean your actual final list has to be 50%.
Yeah.
Your roster does not.
No, no, my roster doesn't have to be. My
So
list does.
Matt Magic and her tactic card is your little sideboard for if Juggernaut
Mm.
shows up.
All
Or
right,
if you just need to be able to move someone very big, like Hulkbuster, and slap Incinerate on them at the same time.
that is true. That's true.
Okay.
So,
So
um, the only thing is also is I was looking at my tactic cards.
yes, I
Um,
was just about to say, let's talk about your tactic cards.
the Shadow Organization is Criminal Syndicate needed. Brace for Impact, you should always take. Med Pack, uh,
So
you should.
weirdly
No,
enough,
no, don't you do that. No.
you have Indomitable and Brace for Impact.
Yes. Well, Indomitable just means you just can't be moved. Brace for Impact is for like when something gets thrown at me.
Okay, cool. Um,
Like I'm afraid of because one of the things you can do to get around Black Cat is you pick up something and throw it at her face.
I
Um,
mean, she still has 3 physical defense. It's not
it's
terrible.
still, but it's still better to do that than try to attack her because the
I
whole nonsense. Um,
Indomitable is a must because of how your play strategy is.
mhm.
You need to have an anti-control
Yep.
in your
Thank
back
you, thank
pocket.
you, Matt, for suggesting that one. Um,
Um,
all according to so it means I get to take out Lethal Protector because I'm not taking Venom.
and you can
Um,
easily swap that for Magic's tactic card.
Magic's tactic card. Sinister Straps I can drop because I'm not going to be using Spider Foes. Um, so I can put something else in there in that place. Because Sinister Traps is really nice. I like Sinister Traps, but it
Mhm.
requires Green Goblin as leader.
Yes. Why cruelty?
It's an extra little. It's so I like Cruelty for one reason. It's an attack that's not an attack. It's a
Okay.
you've done damage to somebody. Crap! I only needed just like 2 more points of damage or a point more damage to flip this character. Cruelty is where you go. I mean, it's literally there for things like Hulkbuster, Juggernaut, the things that it's like I just barely got them to the point I needed to. Let's see if I can get a little more damage in.
I guess, but it's only 5 dice and it can't be added to with anything.
It's still 5 dice. I only need to get one or two. It's not like I'm going to be using this like all the friggin' time. It's more of I need to flip this because remember, I'm trying to stay on points. I'm trying to get people wounded so they're not counting towards secures.
Right.
Uh,
So I'd argue it's honestly easier to find tactic cards that let you move your opponent's pieces than try to kill them.
I do have space to do that. Like, I could take like once again taking out Sinister Straps and Lethal Protector. I have 2 more slots to put stuff in.
Like I'd have to try. I don't have a tactic card at the top of my head that lets you move
I don't
people's pieces. That's
either,
not
but
specific to a character.
eh.
But like Criminal Syndicate
Um,
can do killy, but if it's easier to push someone out of the way because range 1 is pretty restrictive, I think you're going to have as much success with being able to manipulate people, especially since tactic card movement is not prevented by anything, as far as I know. So, like stuff like Juggernaut still can be moved around, so that gives you more chances to get him off a point.
yeah, yeah. So like I think
Like, I feel
trying
like
to
the way
hunt down a
you're
card
gonna,
that does that is good.
we'll think of one online. We'll put it in the comments if we
Yeah,
think of one rather than
if anyone can think of
search.
a something that just basically goes move a character off a point, or even if it's just like pass out a stun, pass out a
Well, I mean,
stagger, pass out.
Mystique has one.
Yeah, but I'm not running Mystique. Um, is it
Uh,
Mystique only?
it
So
is.
one of the other ones I was considering, and because I know you love it, and I don't have it listed here because it was one of the ones I actually put to the side, was I was like, eh. But now that I have spots, because like Blind Obsession,
No, take Blind Obsession, dude.
I'm gonna probably take Blind Obsession instead of Lethal Protector.
Blind Obsession on a flank where your opponent can't get to you to capitalize on the lower
hmm
defense
hmm
as well. Like if you really do want to killy and score points on a flank, Blind Obsession is how you're going to do it.
Yep, yep. Um,
Um,
I have other spots to put some stuff in. Trying to think of some other ones. Oh, so also acute senses. I like acute
I
senses, and
was
not a lot of
just
people
looking at
take
it.
it. Um, it's you don't. So it's only for 1 power. I know it's one of those. I like it, and it's like it's only 1 power. You don't get stealth. And you ignore line of sight, and it's the ignore line of sight that I like.
but not cover. So
Not
be
cover,
aware.
but that's fine.
It's it's just those situations. Those are both really situational things. Granted, there's going to be an all stealth team at some point.
I know.
It's called X Men Under Storm.
Hmm.
But this also doesn't ignore that weirdly.
No, it doesn't, but it does ignore stealth. So things like
It
Black
also only
Cat.
works for one activation.
Technically, this is also my Black Cat, my anti-Black Cat.
Stealth
Um,
isn't your problem for Black Hat. Like
mm, I know it's like
the vast majority of characters only have range 3 or less attacks anyway. So stealth is such a it's a good defensive tech, but it's already situational.
I mean, it's more for like Goblin going after Black Cat or Goblin going after somebody who's got like I can't see because they're behind a truck.
Yeah,
Um,
but in both those cases, just move.
but if I don't have to, like, so I've used this before where there was a wall between me and like a character from Craven.
Like honestly, James, here's an idea. Here's an idea. I have an idea. Instead of acute senses,
Oh no, what do you
make sure it works the way I think it does.
got? What's the name of it? And I'll look it up too.
Uh climbing gear.
You ignore you get climbing for the turn.
Anyone can spend 3, they gain wall crawler, and they immediately advance short.
Oh, it's the that's right. They immediately advance short.
Honestly,
Ooh,
the ability to immediately advance short addresses the
that's
exact same
same
problem
problem.
that dodging stealth and line of sight does. It's
God
more expensive,
dang it! I would
but
never
it
want
does
to take
give you
climbing
wall
gear.
crawler for an activation. My
It
my point
does.
being is it's more applicable in more situations,
Yeah,
and it
that
can still
is.
address the problem.
So that's also like I was looking at like trip up. That's another one.
Trip up is a
Um,
solid combat trick. It's been overshadowed a little bit
it
by other stuff that's
has.
come out over time.
The other thing is advanced R&D. I was thinking of
Advanced
because
R&D is
so
almost always a solid choice.
I and the thing is all according to plan. All according to plan is a criminal syndicate card that is one of those ones that's just like when you can do it, it's awesome. During the power phase, okay, power phase.
Power
Any number of
phase.
allied criminal syndicate characters can spend power to play this card. If you spend 10 or more power, which why would you spend more? Um, you get to take priority.
It's strong.
It's really fucking strong, especially if you have a bunch of dazed characters and you're just sitting on a ton of power. You're like, cool, I can do this. I take priority. It's now my turn. Cool, let's go.
So what I'll point out, um, all according to plan is good. However, if you're in the situation where you have a bunch of dazed characters with a bunch of power, you probably already have priority because your opponent took more turns.
Not for criminal syndicate. It's usually well, like it's one of those
Well,
things. Also, it's the anti-wide list.
they, no, that's exactly the wrong
Oh, sorry,
thought.
sorry, not anti-right. It's anti-tall list, like Blackwater. That's what I was
Yeah,
thinking. Sorry.
it can give a wide list priority back for a double activation, potentially extremely strong. It is very expensive,
It is
so it's going
expensive.
to be one of those things where you're just have to balance. Um, Also, another card to consider if stealth is really the boogeyman you want to chase instead of acute senses. Acute senses is garbage. Don't take acute senses, anyone.
Okay.
Um, Marked for death. 2 characters within 5 of the same enemy can spend 1 each. This round, that enemy loses and cannot gain stealth. Its speed is short, and it can't modify or reroll defense.
Yeah, that is better.
Acute senses is just kind of. It's a counter card to a scenario that just doesn't happen enough.
Yeah, it's the line of sight that was the bonus for me. But no, Mark for Death, where it's like, yeah, you don't get stealth and you become
It's
short and you
yeah,
can't reroll
it's
your defensive dice is pretty awesome.
also can't modify.
And it's a Daredevil card, isn't it? It's in the
I think
Daredevil pack.
it's. I mean, it has Daredevil's art. I don't know if it's a Daredevil pack.
I'll look
Well,
it up. I know
I'm
I have
looking it
that
up now.
somewhere.
It is a Black
Um,
Dwarf and Ebony Maw.
oh, seriously?
Mhm.
I got those. That's fine. So yeah, that's my list. Now we're taking out. Venom, putting in toss up between Magic and
I'm
red. I don't have Magic. That's the problem. I don't think I can get Magic right now.
if you're gonna take Indomitable, you're gonna get Magic, because Indomitable is in the Colossus and Magic box.
It's in the Colossus Magic box, not the Juggernaut box.
No, Indomitable is in the Colossus box.
Ooh, is it out yet in America?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, I might have to pick that up. So
I
yeah, I
mean,
might
yeah.
just slide in Magic. I have a Mega Red though assembled. That's annoying me. And he's primed. He's like waiting to be painted.
If you
Um,
want to take Indomitable, you have to buy that
I
box,
have to buy the
James.
box.
Magic
So
takes 20 minutes to put together. You're gonna
um,
have her painted by the weekend.
that's my list, sort of.
It's got potential.
It's this is
What you
by the
want to
way,
do?
this is also what we do. Before tournaments, we just sit down and we just BS and just be like, so why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Hey, what's your
Explain to
thoughts?
me. Uh, so you're going to have a lot of C. You have so many C scenarios. I
Yep,
would fully expect almost all your games is going to have
is gonna have a
3
C.
objectives across the line.
Yep.
Um,
I was also thinking about
so
so if I don't take
all
Mayor
right,
Fisk, I'm actually thinking about taking the Formula One.
potentially gives you. I think you want at least 3 secures in all of your objectives, because then that's going to force your opponent to commit.
Hmm.
Because if your opponent has 5 models, say average 5 models, I don't know if that's actually average anymore. Curse you, Sam, spam.
I know.
I think like the most. I think the most I've ever heard of is 8 models.
I think isn't Terrigen Cloud's only one?
Terrigen Cloud, I think, is 2 maybe as well.
Yeah. I'll have to look at that. But yeah, you're right. I should probably get more where you spread them out, like
I was 2
cube.
2 tokens. So consider replacing Terrigen Cloud.
Hmm.
Um, Again, because I think Criminal Syndicate's gonna want your opponent to try to spread out, so you can use your numbers to your advantage and counter them. But let's say your opponent has an average 5 models at 17 and 6 at 20. With 3 objectives, they're gonna have to commit 2 each at 20, or 2 and 1 most likely at 17. Which, say you have the same, that means on average you are scoring 1 objective and blocking them from scoring on the
Hmm.
other 2.
And that's what I want. And it's gonna be
Well, no, no,
difficult.
no,
Like
no. Sorry, that's not correct. On average, you are scoring
no, so just
2
go two
objectives.
objectives and
You're scoring
and
2
contest
objectives
one.
and blocking them on 1, which is to your favor.
Yeah.
That's advantage Criminal Syndicate.
My only fear, and this is I have
Oh,
terrible time with them
by the way, on 6, with 6 models at 20 threat, I believe you are scoring all 3 objectives on average
if
before
they
anything
spread
else
out.
happens.
Yes.
If
Um,
everyone spreads out amongst 3 objectives.
my only
So you
fear is Black Order.
death.
Just the I ignore scenarios. I'm just gonna kill you.
Black
Any
Order
any
can
team that
only really ignore scenarios to a point.
to a point, but
If they
it's
let
any
you
team.
score,
It's any team that is the objective is to start flipping characters and start killing characters as their
I,
primary goal.
I don't
Um,
know if you're that worried about it though, because Kingpin is not trivial.
yeah, but when Kingpin
Lizard
flips, it
is not
becomes
trivial.
like it's kind of scary when Kingpin flips. And once Kingpin dies, like if you're like, oh, I don't want to say this. If you're going against a criminal syndicate, kill Kingpin. Like that's
Well,
your first goal should be is kill Kingpin.
honestly, I was gonna say, like, again, Black Order is rough because they have a lot of ways to kidnap you and force you off points.
Hmm.
Like, that is their strength is they can force you to move. But if you can daze Thanos, they lose most of their scoring potential.
Yeah.
Like, they do a lot more damage, so they can try to catch back up that way. Um, but yeah, just kind of use whatever dirty tricks you have to daze Thanos.
Sure. So, we are actually running late. So, thank you guys for watching. If you have suggestions, if you're just like, no, you should totally take this. I don't know why you're taking this. Put them down below. Um, we will be talking about the tournament and how we did and what horrible, horrible things were done to us. So, thank you for watching. Game off.
Game off.